Welcome to Kids Recall. In today's video, we'll be going through the 2019 movie Terra Willy. It's time to recall. Let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The movie begins and we see a spaceship traveling in space, and inside that spaceship we see a boy named Willy. As Willy gets up to start his day, we see that the spaceship is very high-tech, and to get ready for the day, all he has to do is get out of bed. The ship's AI system gets him dressed, makes his hair, and even brushes his teeth as he just stands. Willy is on the spaceship with his parents, and they are on a special space expedition. Today was their last day on the expedition, as they will be heading for Earth now. Willy is really excited to meet all his friends on Earth after so long. As Willy's father is looking at the samples from other planets, Willy joins him and asks him if he can help. Willy looks really interested in his father's work, and he starts to help him out instantly. His father knows that Willy will be able to handle the work on his own, and he tells him to check all the remaining samples as he goes on to do some other work. As his father leaves, Willy stops working and starts playing video games. He goes into the cabin of the ship and sees that their ship is in the middle of many asteroids. The spaceship is surrounded by asteroids, and as some asteroids get too close to the spaceship, Willy's mother, who's flying the spaceship, activates a shield. This results in their journey getting really bumpy, but there are too many asteroids. The shield is taking too many hits and might not be able to sustain itself much longer. Willy's dad contacts him and asks him to come to the cabin. As Willy is about to leave the room, a huge asteroid penetrates the shield and the automatic security system locks Willy inside the room. Willy gets really worried. A door opens towards the escape pod, and Willy's dad asks him to get into the escape pod. Willy is resistant, but eventually he gets in it, and the escape pod leaves the main spaceship. As Willy looks at the ship, as his parents are still on it, he sees that the ship gets hit by multiple asteroids and blows up. Somehow his parents have survived, and they contact Willy. They tell him that they are alive, but they are a little far behind him. They tell him to follow their instructions until they can get to him, and their connection breaks. Willy's escape pod starts to move toward an unexplored planet, which was near the spaceship. As the escape pod lands on the planet, a robot appears from inside the escape pod. The robot is designed to protect humans in case of an emergency. The name of this robot is Buck. Buck gets straight to work, and he analyzes the atmosphere of the planet and finds out that oxygen is present there. He then opens the escape pod as he knows that Willy will not be harmed by the atmosphere. Willy wants to find his parents, but Buck tells him that the escape pod is designed for landing, not for taking off. Willy asks Buck how he will find his parents now. Buck then tells him that when a space traveler gets lost, dozens of space probes are launched to look for them. Now they just have to wait until a probe passes near this planet. They have a transmitter that releases signals for any probe passing by the planet to catch. The pod contains any equipment required for them to survive on the planet. As Buck is working, he notices that Willy is sad. He then gives him a discovery kit. Willy finds a very cool gadget and starts to play with it. Willy finds a camera and he starts to use it like his father used to. As he looks around, he sees huge rocks, and these huge rocks start to move. The rocks are actually giant monsters, and the monsters destroy the pod, along with all their supplies. Willy and Buck run and hide behind a rock. They forget the transmitter on the pod. After locating it, Buck throws a rope around it, and its end is a hand-like claw. He's able to get the transmitter. The other monsters around him also start to rise and attack them. Buck transforms into a bike, and he starts to move fast. During this, Willy drops the battery which powers Buck, and they can't go back for it. Buck detects a cave nearby, and they move toward it. As they get into the cave, the rock monsters can't get to them, and they're safe now. They start to move toward the other side of the cave. As they move the cave from the other side, Willy loves the beautiful sight. The next morning, they start to explore the planet to find a safe place to stay. The side of the planet is really beautiful. It contains different species of plants and animals, and Willy's really amazed to see all these things, and he takes pictures of everything. They finally get to a place where they think is safe for them to stay. Buck gets to scan the entire place to make sure that it's safe for Willy to stay. As Buck leaves, a small cute-looking creature runs towards Willy. The creature is really scared as it's being followed by a huge monster. Willy tries to take control of the situation, but he runs away after he grabs the small creature with him. The monster is about to catch Willy, but he's saved by Buck. Buck takes them to safety and starts to scan the small creature. Willy wants to keep the creature as a pet and wants to name it Flash. Buck tells him that he cannot let any unknown species get near Willy for his safety. Flash runs away and Willy lets it go. Flash keeps following them as Willy and Buck come across a huge giant beetle. The beetle is turned upside down, and as Willy decides to help the beetle, he notices that the beetle sends signals from its horn and other beetles come to help it. Willy's really impressed by this, but after a while he starts to feel hungry. Buck scans some fruits and gives them to Willy to eat. Willy does not like the taste of any fruit. Willy spots Flash, who's been following them, and starts to play with him. As soon as Buck sees Flash, he starts to run after it for it to go away. They then collect some wood to make a shelter. Willy again sees Flash and tricks Buck to go play with Flash. Willy and Flash see a giant beetle that is working. As Willy takes a picture of the beetle, it gets distracted from its work. The beetle falls and breaks its alarm horn. Willy takes the broken alarm horn and ties it back in its place with a rope. After this, Willy and Flash have a lot of fun and they enjoy it a lot. As Buck notices that Willy was not with him for a long time, he goes after him to find him. Buck finally finds Willy playing with Flash. Flash runs away and hides. As Buck takes Willy back, he gets hit by a poisonous plant. Buck tries to find something that will help save Willy, but he finds nothing. As Flash was watching everything, he runs away to bring the plant that can save Willy. He's back on time and is able to save him. As Buck watches this, he knows that Flash does not mean any harm to Willy and allows him to stay with Willy. They go to a place to spend the night as it is getting dark. Willy and Flash instantly sleep as they are really tired. The next day when Willy gets up to see that Flash has turned into a stone. Willy gets really worried about Flash, but Buck tells him that this is a process that some creatures go through when they evolve. After a while, the stone-like structure starts to break and Flash has long legs now. Willy gets really happy to see Flash, and now Flash has evolved into a bigger size. The three of them get to work, and with teamwork, they're able to complete their house. The house is made up of leaves and wood. Suddenly, the weather starts to get bad, and Flash tries to tell Willy something, but Willy tells him that they'll be safe inside the house. Flash runs away, and Willy sees that all the plants near them start to hide. Huge stones start to fall from the sky, and to protect them, Buck turns into a shield. Due to the shield, Buck's battery starts to get really low. The storm stops and Flash comes running back towards Willy. Buck tells Willy that his battery is running very low. To save the transmitter, he would have to go to sleep mode. He tells Willy to stay with Flash, as Flash knows more about this planet. After telling this to Willy, Buck goes to sleep mode. Willy drags Buck into a cave so he can remain safe there. Willy gets sad and decides to bring the battery pack back to revive Buck. He uses the camera to spot the battery pack from the cave, and when he's about to leave the cave, Flash grabs his arm with his mouth and tries to stop him. Flash knows it's dangerous for Willy to go back out there, but Willy keeps on going. Seeing this, Flash runs across Willy toward the battery pack to get it back to Willy, so that they can save Buck. A rock monster gets up and Willy runs inside the cave. Outside, as Flash is running towards the battery pack, it gets stuck in between the rock monsters. The monsters hit Flash and he gets injured. As soon as Flash gets near the cave, Willy runs out and saves him. Flash is really injured now, so Willy decides to take away from the cave in search of help. He makes a bed in which he can drag Flash, and they start to move. As they are walking, Flash falls into a huge hole in the ground, which is hidden. Willy falls deep into the hole and gets stuck there. He tries to get out using the multi-purpose stick, but it is of no use. Flash does not have the strength to get up from the bed, so he can't help Willy. Willy loses hope and quietly sits in the hole accepting his fate, when suddenly he sees a broken alarm horn of a giant beetle. He gets an idea and starts to use the horn to signal the beetles for help. Many beetles gather around the hole, but when they see, will all of them go away? One beetle stays back, and it's the same beetle that Willy helped previously. This beetle has stayed to help Willy, and finally Willy gets back up. As soon as Willy gets back up, he walks towards the beetle and pets it as a way of saying thanks. Willy then takes Flash back to the cave where Buck is. Willy's really upset as he's not yet found a way to revive Buck. He decides to survive on the planet with Flash until the transmitter catches some signal, as this is the only way for him to go now. In the next scene of the movie, we see that 10 months have passed and now Willy has adapted to the environment of the planet. Flash has grown as time passed and is becoming huge. Willy still has the camera that he's been using in all this time and takes pictures of everything around him so he can show them to people when he gets back to Earth. He encounters many beautiful and many weird things. One night, as Willy gazes into the night sky, he notices a probe flying by the planet. Willy thinks that Buck must have come out of sleep mode, as he told him that he will revive as soon as a probe comes near the planet. As Willy starts to go towards Buck's, Flash's metamorphosis process starts, and he turns to stone yet again. Willy leaves Flash there and he runs towards the cave. He goes near Buck and asks him to revive him. He then notices that Buck has stayed in the same place for so long that small plants have started to grow on him. Willy then checks and finds out that Buck's remaining battery power has also ended, due to which he did not have the power to catch the signals anymore. He was out of power and was unable to revive himself. Willy is really upset, and he decides to get the battery pack back at any cost. Willy then gets ready to go on a mission to get it back. As Willy knows that he will not be able to get the battery pack back alone, he signals the beetles for help. The beetle and Willy are successful to get the battery pack without the monsters noticing their presence. As Willy picks up the battery pack, one of the rock monsters gets up and starts to attack Willy. All the monsters get up and they throw Willy here and there. When one of the monsters is about to eat Willy, he's saved by Flash. With the help of the beetle and Flash, Willy's able to escape the monsters. They run back to the cave without any harm this time. Willy puts the battery pack inside Buck and Buck is revived. As soon as Buck gets revived, the nearest probe catches the signals from the transmitter. A ship arrives to take Willy away. Now Willy must leave this planet and he wants to take Flash with him. It's very difficult for Flash to leave this planet as it is his home. Eventually, Willy hugs Flash and says goodbye to him. Willy also hugs his friend Beetle and he gets on the ship and leaves the planet. As Flash sees him go away, he also gets sad and starts to jump to express his feelings. The ship takes Willy into space. A huge ship is seen in which Willy's parents are waiting for him. After seeing Willy, they get really happy, and Willy's mother runs towards Willy and hugs him. Willy starts to tell his parents all about the planet and what he saw there, as Buck stands there and watches them, and the movie ends here. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on that notification, and leave a like to help the channel out, and thank you for watching.